And now for the 7 p.m. Eastern poll closings with states representing 60 electoral votes. In the great state of Kentucky, Mike Pence will pick up that state's 8 electoral votes, a solidly red state. In his home state of Indiana, Mike Pence will win Indiana's 11 electoral votes, another solidly red state. In the solidly blue state, Bernie Sanders' home state of Vermont, Kamala Harris will win Vermont's 3 electoral votes. In the state of South Carolina, 9 electoral votes at a poll closing call will go for Mike Pence. In Georgia, interestingly, too close to call, but you can see Mike Pence with a very slim lead, but it is very early in that state. As well as in Virginia, it is too early to call in this case, with Kamala Harris in an early lead. And you can look at the current electoral map right there. Pence with Indiana, Kentucky, and South Carolina, and Harris with Vermont. So 28-3 right there on the race to 270. And now for the 7:30 p.m. poll closing with states representing 37 electoral votes. In the state of West Virginia, 4 electoral votes. Mike Pence will easily pick up that state's 4 electoral votes. In the state of North Carolina, key race, it is too close to call at this hour, 18% in. As well as in Ohio, too close to call with 22% of the vote in. And you can see, not a huge change in the map, but you can see West Virginia added there to Mike Pence's total. And you can see the race to 270, 32 for Mike Pence and 3 for Kamala Harris. And now for the 8 p.m. poll closings with a whopping 169 electoral votes. In the deep red state of Alabama, Mike Pence will win their 8 electoral votes. In the deep blue state of Connecticut, Kamala Harris will win that state's 7 electoral votes. And to go with it, in Delaware and New England, 3 electoral votes go for Kamala Harris, Joe Biden's home state. In the state of Florida, it is too close to call, 31 highly contested electoral votes. Too close to call with 48% in. In the state of Illinois, home state of Barack Obama, Kamala Harris is the projected winner of that state's 18 electoral votes. In the state of Maine, with its 4 split electoral votes, it is too early to call, but Kamala Harris is in an early lead. In the state of Maryland, Kamala Harris will pick up that state's 10 electoral votes, another solidly blue state in New England. In the state of Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren's home state, Kamala Harris will win that state's 11 electoral votes. In the state of Mississippi, Mike Pence will win that state's 6 electoral votes, another solidly red state in the South. In the state of Missouri, as well, another solidly red state in the South, 10 electoral votes go for Mike Pence at this poll closing call. In the state of New Hampshire, another key race, it is too close to call, but you can see Kamala Harris with a very narrow early lead. In the state of New Jersey, home state of Chris Christie, Kamala Harris will pick up that state's 14 electoral votes. No great suspense here. In the state of Oklahoma, state Donald Trump won by over 30 points both times. Mike Pence wins that state's 7 electoral votes. In the state of Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes. It is too close to call. You can see Harris with an early lead. In the state of Rhode Island, 3 electoral votes. Kamala Harris will win that state very easily. In the state of Tennessee, another southern state in the red wall, Mike Pence will win that state's 11 electoral votes. And finally, in the District of Columbia, you can see an absolutely enormous margin for Kamala Harris, so she wins that. And you can look at the current electoral map right there. You can see lots of states filled in now, and a very tight race, 74 for Mike Pence to 72 for Kamala Harris. And now for the 8:30 p.m. poll closings, just one state, the home state of Bill Clinton, Arkansas, will go for Mike Pence. Will be in his column, 6 more electoral votes. And you can see not a huge change in the map, but Arkansas colored in red right there below Missouri. And now 80 for Mike Pence to 72 for Kamala Harris right there. And now for the 9 p.m. poll closings representing 159 electoral votes. In the state of Arizona, it is too early to call, but Mike Pence is in an early lead. In the state of Colorado, different characterization, too close to call, but you can see Kamala Harris actually with a small lead. In the state of Kansas, Mike Pence will win that state's 6 electoral votes, part of the red wall of Republican. In the state of Louisiana, Mike Pence will also win that state's 8 electoral votes by a wide margin. In the state of Michigan, it is too early to call, but Kamala Harris actually has a pretty significant lead in that state. In the state of Minnesota, the same characterization, too early to call, but you can see Kamala Harris actually with a larger lead in this case. In the the state of Nebraska, we're going to give Mike Pence 4 out of their 5 electoral votes. Remember, Nebraska divides their votes by congressional districts. In the state of New Mexico, no call. It is too early to call, but Kamala Harris actually with the lead in that state. In the state of New York, Kamala Harris will pick up that state's 28 electoral votes. In the state of North Dakota, Mike Pence will win that state's 3 electoral votes. And to go with it, in South Dakota, another solidly red state in the red wall, Mike Pence will win that state's 3 electoral votes by a wide margin. In the state of Texas, Mike Pence wins that state's 42 electoral votes, a wider margin than Donald Trump had. In the state of Wisconsin, another key race, it is too close to call. You can see very, very close right there in the vote totals. And finally, no great suspense here. In the state of Wyoming, home of Dick Cheney, Mike Pence will capture the 3 electoral votes. And you can see the current electoral map right there with the 9 p.m. poll closing states filled in. And on the race to 270, 149 for Pence to 100 for Kamala Harris. In Maine now, 4 electoral votes. Kamala Harris will get 3 out of the 4 electoral votes. In the state of Virginia, a pretty early call in the state of Virginia, Kamala Harris will win their 13 electoral votes. And now for the 10 p.m. poll closings representing 21 electoral votes. In the state of Iowa, another key race, too early to call, but Mike Pence has a lead. In the state of Montana, Mike Pence will pick up that state's 3 electoral votes, so that red band continues west. In the state of Nevada, it is too early to call, but you can see Kamala Harris there with the lead in that state, but too early. And finally, in the state of Utah, a huge Republican state, Mike Pence will capture their 6 electoral votes. And you can look at the current electoral map there, Montana and Utah filled in for the 10 p.m. poll closings. And on the race to 270, 158 for Mike Pence to 116 for Kamala Harris. And now in Georgia, Mike Pence will win Georgia's 16 electoral votes, pretty close, but he wins. In the state of Minnesota, Kamala Harris will pick up their 9 electoral votes in that state. An important win for her. And now for the 11 p.m. poll closings representing 83 electoral votes. In the state of California, in her home state, Kamala Harris will capture California's whopping 55 electoral votes. And we're going to break into the 11 p.m. poll closings. We can now project that Mike Pence will win Arizona's 12 electoral votes. Now back to the 11 p.m. poll closings. In Barack Obama's original home state of Hawaii, Kamala Harris will win their 4 electoral votes. In the deep red state of Idaho, Mike Pence will capture that state's 4 electoral votes. In the state of Oregon on the west coast, Kamala Harris will win that state's 8 electoral votes. And to go with it, in the state of Washington, completing the West Coast for Democrats, Kamala Harris will win Washington's 12 electoral votes, another liberal state. And you can look at the current electoral map there with the West Coast now filled in. And on the race to 270 right here, 190 for Pence to 204 for Harris. And now in Michigan, Kamala Harris has won Michigan's 15 electoral votes, a very important win for her in the Rust Belt. In the state of New Mexico as well, Kamala Harris will pick up that state's 5 electoral votes and put that in her column. In the state of Colorado, a key race alert, Kamala Harris has won that state's 10 electoral votes. In the state of North Carolina, another swing state, Mike Pence will actually win that state's 16 electoral votes. In the state of Iowa as well, Mike Pence, an important win for him. He wins Iowa's 6 electoral votes by a pretty significant margin. And you can look at the current electoral map with those calls filled in right there. And on the race to 270, 212 for Mike Pence to 234 for Kamala Harris. And now in Nevada, another swing state, Kamala Harris has won Nevada's 6 electoral votes. In the state of Ohio, 17 electoral votes. Mike Pence will win Ohio's 17 electoral votes. In the state of Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris will win Pennsylvania's 19 electoral votes by a close margin, but she wins. And now for the 1 a.m. poll closings. This is just the one state, the state of Alaska. And Mike Pence is, of course, the projected winner of Alaska's 3 electoral votes. You can see a huge margin for him. And you can see not a huge change in the map, but Alaska filled in right there with the 1 a.m. poll closing. And on the race to 270, 232 for Pence to 259 for Harris. And now for the 2 close to call states. In the state of Florida, 2 close to call with 97% of precincts reporting. In Maine's 2nd Congressional District, with its 1 electoral vote, we still do not have a call with 65% of the vote in. In the swing state of New Hampshire, 4 highly contested electoral votes, 73% of the vote in, too close. In the state of Wisconsin as well, too close to call with 84% of the precincts reporting in that state. And finally, in Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, it is also too close to call with its 1 electoral vote. And now for some new projections with new states to be called. Mike Pence will win Maine's 2nd Congressional District, splitting Maine's 4 electoral votes. In Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, Mike Pence will win, which means he gets 5 out of 5 of Nebraska's electoral votes. In the state of Wisconsin, Kamala Harris has won Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes. She has swept the Rust Belt. And as you can see, the current electoral map right there. And now the race to 270 in bar chart form, 234 for Pence to 269 for Harris. She needs 1 more. And she has, in the state of Florida, Kamala Harris will narrowly win that state's 31 electoral votes. And in the state of New Hampshire, Kamala Harris will pick up that state's 4 electoral votes, 2 swing states she wins. And that means we can project that Kamala Harris will be elected the 46th President of the United States, the first woman president. And you can see the final electoral vote right there filled in. Kamala Harris winning 304 electoral votes to Mike Pence's 234 electoral votes. And you can see some of my upcoming videos right here. Election Night 2024, Nikki Haley versus McAuliffe should be up soon. I would also like to ask you if you are willing to please consider making a donation to the channel on Patreon. Be sure to check out the rewards for donating. There are some pretty cool rewards. I'd very much like to thank you for watching Election Night 2020. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more election matchups and political forecasts.